When the mountains write postcards, these are the addresses they send them to. Some people chase cities, but the real treasures sit quietly at the feet of mountains, where even the rooftops seem to compete with the peaks. Lijiang, Yunnan, China. In the far southwest of China, where the Himalayan foothills meet the Yunnan-Guizhou Plateau, lies the ancient town of Lijiang. At its back rises the majestic Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, its 13 peaks draped in glaciers, standing as both protector and symbol of the region. Lijiang's geography is striking. The town rests at 2,400 meters above sea level, surrounded by rivers, alpine meadows, and forests that shift color with the seasons. Snowmelt from Jade Dragon feeds the Jinsha River, the upper course of the mighty Yangtze, carving deep valleys on its way to the east. But Lijiang is more than a scenic backdrop. It's a town with full of lively soul. Its old town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a maze of stone bridges, canals, and wooden houses with tiled roofs. Water runs through narrow channels beside the streets, a design perfected centuries ago. This is the home of the Naxi people, whose culture blends Tibetan and Han traditions with its own unique identity. Their ancient Dongba script, still used in rituals, is one of the world's only living pictographic writing systems. Nearby, the Black Dragon Pool reflects Jade Dragon Snow Mountain so perfectly that it feels like two worlds meeting, one real, one mirrored. And for those who venture higher, the mountain itself offers alpine meadows, glacial lakes, and some of China's most dramatic high-altitude scenery. Namche Bazaar, Nepal. At 3,440 meters, Namche Bazaar rests in a natural amphitheater carved into the Himalayas. With sweeping views of Kongderi and distant glimpses of Mount Everest itself. The Dudkoshi River winds far below, while snowy peaks guard the horizon. Historically, Namche was a bustling trade hub between Tibet and Nepal. Famous for salt, wool, and yak caravans. Even today, its Saturday market still echoes that tradition. The culture here is deeply Sherpa Buddhist, with prayer flags strung across rooftops and monasteries reminding visitors that the mountains are considered sacred protectors of life. Travelers come here as the first acclimatization stop on the Everest Trail, but also for its unique blend of geography and culture. Most people reach Namche by flying into Lukla's mountain airstrip and then trekking 2 days along steep trails and suspension bridges that climb through the Khumbu Valley. The best time to visit is in spring or autumn, when clear skies frame Everest in all its glory. Namche Bazaar is not just a stop on the way to the world's highest peak. It is the cultural and spiritual heart of the Khumbu, where trade, belief, and towering geography meet. Jackson, Wyoming. At the southern entrance to Grand Teton National Park lies Jackson, a mountain town framed by some of the most dramatic peaks in North America. The Teton Range rises almost vertically from the valley floor, with jagged summits like the Grand Teton towering above at 13,775 feet. This unique geography was shaped by glaciers that carved deep valleys and left behind the flat expanse known as Jackson Hole, a high-elevation basin surrounded by mountains. Elk herds still migrate through the valley, and bald eagles soar above the Snake River that winds through the town. Jackson itself feels like a blend of old Western charm and mountain adventure. Its wooden boardwalks, iconic elk antler arches, and rustic architecture echo its cowboy roots, while its economy thrives today on tourism, skiing, and nearby ranching traditions. Locals often say, the Tetons don't just tower above you, they remind you how small you are. That saying reflects the daily life here, where nature dominates every view. Winter brings sleigh rides through the National Elk Refuge, while summer fills the valley with wildflowers and rushing glacial streams. Few towns in America can claim a backdrop as raw and awe-inspiring as Jackson. It's not just a gateway to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, it's a place where the mountains feel alive, and the land still tells the story of its wild glacial past. Chamonix Mont Blanc, France. At the base of Mont Blanc, the tallest mountain in Western Europe, sits the legendary town of Chamonix. A place where adventure isn't just a hobby, it's practically a religion. Geography here is extreme. Mont Blanc towers at 4,807 meters. The air is crisp, the views are intimidating, and the mountains whisper, "Hope you brought good boots." The town itself is a mix of rustic alpine chalets, chic cafes, and gear shops that make you feel guilty for not owning 3 pairs of crampons. Walk the streets and you'll hear French, English, Italian, and the nervous laughter of tourists who just realized they signed up for a glacier hike. Chamonix is famous for more than skiing. It's the birthplace of modern mountaineering. Climbers have been testing their courage here for centuries, heading up to conquer Mont Blanc or tackle the Mer de Glace, France's largest glacier. Even if you're not climbing, you can take the cable car up the Aiguille du Midi and pretend that you hiked all the way to the top. Food here fuels adventurers. Think gooey raclette and fondue, because after a day in the snow, nobody counts calories. Chamonix isn't just a mountain town, it's a stage where nature shows its fiercest beauty and humans come to test their limits. Whether you're here for the slopes, the views, or just the cheese, one thing's certain: the mountains won't let you forget them. Greinau, Germany. Nestled in Bavaria, Greinau is the kind of alpine town that feels like it was designed by someone with a serious postcard obsession. Framed by the mighty Zugspitze, Germany's highest peak at 2,962 meters. This town offers some of the most dramatic backdrops in the country. Geography here is everything. Towering limestone cliffs, pine-covered slopes, and two turquoise jewels, the Eibsee and Badersee lakes make Greinau a natural show-off. On clear mornings, the reflection of Zugspitze in Eibsee is so perfect you'll question reality. Or at least your camera settings. Life in Greinau moves at a quieter pace than nearby Garmisch-Partenkirchen, but locals like to joke, we let Garmisch do the crowds, we keep the views. Hiking trails weave right out of town, leading you through alpine meadows that look straight out of a fairy tale. In winter, the ski slopes of Zugspitze are practically in your backyard. For the best panorama, many head up by cable car to the Zugspitze summit platform itself. From here, you can see not just Bavaria, but across the Alps into Austria, Italy, and even Switzerland on a clear day. The town itself is pure Bavarian charm. Half-timbered houses, flower boxes spilling with geraniums, and hearty mountain food like schnitzel and Käsespätzle that warm you up faster than any jacket. Greinau may not shout for attention, but that's its magic. And maybe realize that Germany's Alps are just as breathtaking as their Swiss and Austrian cousins, only a little less braggy about it. Leh, Ladakh, India. High in the northernmost reaches of India, where the Himalayas meet the Karakoram range, lies the mountain town of Leh. At over 3,500 meters above sea level, Leh feels like a place closer to the sky than to the earth. The geography here is stark and dramatic. Surrounding mountains are not lush and green, but barren, jagged, and carved by wind. And the Indus River winds its way through the region, giving life to oases of poplar trees and barley fields. At the heart of the town stands Leh Palace, a 17th century fortress that overlooks the valley, its silhouette echoing Tibet's Potala Palace. Above it rises the Shanti Stupa. Leh's culture is deeply tied to Tibetan Buddhism. Monasteries like Hemis, Tiksi, and Lama Yuru are not only landmarks, but living centers of prayer, festivals, and ancient rituals. Locals still celebrate masked dances, carry prayer wheels, and paint the mountain air with the sound of chanting. Life here has always been shaped by geography. For centuries, Leh was a crossroads on the Silk Road, where traders carried salt, wool, and spices across mountain passes. Today, it thrives on trekking, mountaineering, and a growing tourism economy. But there's still a saying among Ladakhis. Yet the soul of Ladakh isn't just in Leh. Journey across the Kardung La Pass, one of the world's highest motorable roads, and you'll reach the Nubra Valley. Here lies Sumur village, a place where life slows down. Sumur is known for the ancient Samstanling monastery, its red and gold walls glowing against sand dunes and snowy peaks. The village sits near the confluence of the Nubra and Shyok rivers, making its fields unusually green for such a high-altitude desert. Apricot orchards bloom in summer, and locals still live in traditional stone houses, carrying forward generations of farming and craftsmanship. Travelers often come here to experience a different side of Ladakh, quiet, spiritual, and deeply tied to the land. Locals say, "The land is harsh, but the heart is soft." Skardu, Pakistan. High in the north of Pakistan, where the Indus River carves its way through the mighty Karakoram Range, lies the town of Skardu. It isn't just another mountain settlement. It's the very doorstep to some of the world's tallest and most feared peaks, including K2, Broad Peak. The geography here is breathtaking. Stark granite cliffs rise above fertile valleys. Glacial rivers shimmer turquoise in the sun. And just beyond town, the landscape shifts suddenly. One moment alpine green, the next golden desert. The famous Katpana Desert, known as the world's highest cold desert, stretches right at Skardu's edge. Landmarks give the town its timeless soul. The ancient Skardu fort, perched high above the valley, has guarded this land for centuries. Shangri-La Lake, with its mirror-like waters, feels like a place out of legend. And from Shigar Fort, travelers once set out toward the uncharted high mountains. Life here is shaped by the mountains. Locals grow barley, apricots, and walnuts in terraced fields. For adventurers, Skardu is a gateway. Treks lead to the mighty Baltoro Glacier, the way to K2 Base Camp. Climbers, hikers, and wanderers from across the globe arrive here, chasing the same question: what lies beyond those jagged peaks? Manang, Nepal. At 3,519 meters, Manang lies in a wide valley of the Annapurna Range. Surrounded by giants like Annapurna II, Gangapurna, and Tilicho Peak. The Marsyangdi River runs below, carving the landscape that shelters the village. For centuries, Manang was part of a Tibetan-Nepali trade route. And its people still carry strong Tibetan Buddhist traditions. Monasteries overlook the valley, and locals believe the mountains are sacred guardians, watching over their fields and homes. The economy today depends on trekking tourism, with tea houses and lodges welcoming travelers on the Annapurna circuit. The high-altitude lifestyle and side treks to places like Tilicho Lake, a spot often described with spiritual reverence by locals. The best time to arrive is in spring or autumn, when skies are clear and the mountains seem impossibly close. Banff in Alberta, Canada. It sits inside the Bow Valley at the heart of the Canadian Rockies, beneath the rugged peaks of Mount Rundle and Cascade Mountain. The town is surrounded by glaciers, alpine lakes, and some of the most dramatic mountain scenery in North America. The area is part of Banff National Park, Canada's first national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The park holds over 1,000 glaciers, turquoise lakes like Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, and wildlife ranging from elk and mountain goats to grizzly bears. Banff's geography is full of striking contrasts. The Bow River cuts through the valley, creating meadows where wildlife often wander right into town. Nearby, the hot springs flow from deep beneath Sulphur Mountain, heated by geothermal energy from inside the earth. The village itself has an alpine character, with chalet-style buildings set against snow-covered peaks. But its unique location makes it more than a town. It's a natural crossroads. Within minutes, you can reach glaciers, canyons, waterfalls, or stand on mountaintops overlooking vast ice fields. The mountains around Banff contain fossils of sea creatures, a reminder that this land was once under a prehistoric ocean before the Rockies rose up. El Chaltén, Argentina. At the very edge of Patagonia, where the land feels untamed and endless, sits the small town of El Chaltén. It rests in the shadow of one of the most dramatic mountain ranges on Earth. The jagged Fitzroy Massif, its granite spires piercing the sky. The geography here is breathtaking. Formed by ancient glaciers, the valleys cradle turquoise rivers like the Rio de las Vueltas, while hanging glaciers feed into alpine lakes such as Laguna Capri and Laguna de los Tres. Winds sweep across the steppe, colliding with snow-capped peaks that change colors with every sunrise. El Chaltén was founded only in 1985 AD, making it one of Argentina's youngest towns. Built to strengthen Argentina's claim over this remote region of Patagonia. Today it's known as the National Trekking Capital, where trails begin right from the edge of town and lead deep into the wilderness. Life here is simple, with colorful houses, family-owned bakeries serving fresh empanadas, and hikers from around the world gathering after long days on the trail. Locals say, in El Chaltén, the mountains choose the weather, not the people. And it's true, the peaks often hide in mist, rewarding patience with sudden, unforgettable views. Visitors come from multi-day treks to Mount Fitzroy for the chance to see condors soaring above glaciers or to watch the Patagonian night sky, one of the clearest on the continent. El Chaltén is more than a town. It feels like a frontier, a place where human life barely clings to the edge of vast wilderness, and that's its magic. San Carlos de Bariloche, Argentina. On the southern shores of Lake Nahuel Huapi, framed by the jagged peaks of the Patagonian Andes, lies the town of San Carlos de Bariloche. Few places on earth combine alpine charm with raw wilderness like this. The geography here is staggering. Glaciers carve deep valleys that now cradle sapphire lakes. Dense lenga forests climb volcanic slopes. And from Cerro Campanario, one of Bariloche's most famous viewpoints, the horizon opens to a 360 degrees panorama of islands, mountains, and fjords. At the heart of town is the Centro Cívico, a stone and wood square built in alpine style, now a National Historic Monument. Not far away rises Cerro Catedral, South America's largest ski resort, where in winter the slopes glow white with snow, and in summer the trails transform into trekking and biking routes. Bariloche's culture reflects its European roots, especially in its Swiss and German-inspired chalets and its world-famous chocolate shops, earning it the nickname Little Switzerland of Argentina. But it is still deeply Patagonian. Gaucho traditions, trout fishing lodges, and artisan crafts rooted firmly in Argentine soil. Every corner feels like it belongs on a postcard. Locals often say, Bariloche is 4 towns in one, white in winter, green in summer, gold in autumn, and blue all year. And standing here, it's easy to see why. Kranjska Gora, Slovenia. Welcome to Kranjska Gora, the alpine jewel of Slovenia, tucked beneath the Julian Alps where Slovenia, Austria, and Italy practically wave at each other across the mountains. Here, geography does the talking. Snowy peaks tower above, pine forests roll down the slopes, and the Sava Dolinka River sparkles like it's been filtered for Instagram. Then there's Lake Jasna, so perfectly clear and calm you'll wonder if someone polished it that morning just for your photo. The town itself feels like a postcard. Wooden chalets, cozy inns, and enough charm to make you believe in mountain fairy tales. Locals even tell old legends of spirits hiding in the valleys. Though, honestly, if you met one, you'd probably just invite it for mulled wine. Of course, this place is serious about skiing. It's hosted World Cup races, but it's also perfect for hiking, cycling, and crossing borders just for fun. One moment you're in Slovenia, 5 minutes later you're in Austria. And if you're really ambitious, Italy's pasta isn't far either. And the best part? The mountains here aren't just scenery, they're what locals call their guardians. Personally, I think they're just making sure nobody leaves without trying the famous alpine dumplings. Jasper, Alberta, Canada. Jasper is a mountain town in western Alberta, set deep within the Canadian Rockies. Surrounded by towering snow-capped peaks, turquoise lakes, and dense evergreen forests, the town feels like the heart of true wilderness. It lies inside Jasper National Park, the largest national park in the Canadian Rockies and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The park stretches across more than 11,000 square kilometers, with glaciers, canyons, hot springs, and over 1,000 kilometers of hiking trails. Geographically, Jasper is shaped by ice and water. The Athabasca River runs right through the town, fed by meltwater from the Columbia Icefield. Jasper is quieter and more remote. Its skies are famously clear, so much so that Jasper has been designated a dark sky preserve, making it one of the best places on Earth to see the Milky Way arching over the Rockies. The town itself is small and alpine in character, with wooden lodges, cozy cafes, and streets that look out onto dramatic mountain ridges. But it's the wild surroundings that define life here. Elk often wander right through town, bears roam the forests, and mountain goats scale the cliffs. A unique fact: Jasper sits on some of the oldest exposed rocks in the Rockies, dating back nearly 600 million years, when this land was once covered by an ancient sea. Jasper is more than a town. It's a frontier where glaciers, rivers, and billion-year-old mountains meet, offering a reminder of how vast and wild the world's still island. Ouray, Colorado. It lies in a steep valley at the base of the San Juan Mountains, part of the Southern Rocky Mountains. Surrounded by peaks that rise over 13,000 feet, the village feels like it's cradled in a giant natural amphitheater of stone. Nicknamed the Switzerland of America, Ouray is known for its dramatic geography, jagged cliffs, deep canyons, and cascading waterfalls. The Uncompahgre River runs through town, fed by snowmelt from nearby glaciers and alpine lakes. Just outside the village, Box Canyon Falls plunges 285 feet into a narrow gorge, a reminder of the raw power that shaped this landscape. Ouray is also famous for its hot springs, heated by geothermal activity beneath the mountains. These springs, rich in minerals, have been flowing for centuries and still draw visitors year-round, especially in winter when steam rises against snowy peaks. In the late 1800 AD, miners carved tunnels deep into the mountains, chasing veins of silver and gold. Today, you can still see remnants of that history tucked into the cliffs and forests. Adventure defines Ouray. It's one of the world's top destinations for ice climbing, thanks to the frozen waterfalls that form each winter. Hiking trails lead to alpine basins filled with wildflowers, high passes, and hidden lakes. The Million Dollar Highway, one of America's most scenic drives, winds out of Ouray with hairpin turns and views that drop thousands of feet. A little-known fact: the mountains around Ouray hold one of the largest concentrations of 13,000-foot peaks in the U.S., making it a paradise for climbers and geographers alike. Ure is more than a mountain town. It's a place where volcanic history, glacial power, and human determination come together, earning it its rightful name, the Switzerland of America. Hakone, Japan. Just a short journey from Tokyo lies the mountain town of Hakone. Nestled in the Fuji Hakone Izu National Park, it sits in the shadow of Mount Fuji, Japan's most iconic peak. The geography here is rich and diverse. Hakone is a land of hot springs, volcanic valleys, and crystal-clear lakes. The most famous is Lake Ashi, where red torii gates rise from the water. And boats sail under the watchful presence of Mount Fuji on the horizon. Nearby, the Owakudani Valley steams with volcanic vents, filling the air with the smell of sulfur, a reminder of the Earth's restless power beneath. Hakone is also known for its culture and tradition. Ancient paths of the old Tokaido Road, once traveled by samurai and merchants, still wind through cedar forests. The town is filled with onsen ryokan, traditional inns with hot spring baths, where visitors soak while gazing out at mountains and forests. One unique local treat is the black egg of Owakudani, an egg boiled in volcanic hot springs, its shell turned black by the minerals. Locals say eating one adds 7 years to your life. Canmore, Canada. Canmore is a mountain town in Alberta, cradled in the Bow Valley at the very edge of Banff National Park. Surrounded by the jagged Canadian Rockies, this is where wilderness meets community. The town rests beneath the Three Sisters Peaks, locally nicknamed Big Sister, Middle Sister, and Little Sister. For many here, those peaks aren't just mountains, they're guardians, landmarks, and symbols of home. The Bow River winds through Canmore, cutting a blue ribbon between forests and meadows. Its valley was carved by ancient glaciers, leaving behind sheer cliffs and turquoise lakes that shimmer under the alpine sunday. Geologists often remind visitors that these towering Rockies were once seabeds, raised from the ocean floor more than 1 billion years ago. Even today, fossils of prehistoric sea creatures can be found in the limestone surrounding the town. Once a coal mining town, its rebirth came during the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics, when it hosted Nordic ski events. Locals still say, "The mountains made us miners, but the snow made us a community." The people here take pride in their mountain lifestyle. There's even a saying among Canmore residents, "You don't live in Canmore to watch the mountains, you live here to breathe them." And yet, despite its growth, Canmore holds onto its small-town feel. Neighbors greet each other on the trails, wildlife often wanders close to town, and the rhythm of life is set not by clocks, but by the changing moods of the peaks. Canmore is more than a town. It's a living balance between rugged wilderness and warm community spirit, a place where the Rockies aren't just scenery, but part of daily life.